Hello, hello, hello. Jordy here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to do a little review video and sharing my thoughts and opinions after playing Starfield for a generous amount of time. So, let's get into it. So far, I think the gameplay is really smooth, really nice. The combat's nice. The weapon handling's feels great. Melee feels great. Running and jumping and jetpack boosting, it all feels really cohesive and smooth and nice. I'm happy that combat feels like this, and it's not like it's not clunky or anything like that. The only thing that I find a little awkward is throwing grenades. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. It's not as responsive as I thought it was going to be. And then, and also gauging how far you're going to throw the grenade, it's just a little weird. Maybe I'm just not used to it yet, but that's just one thing to keep note of. Another cool mechanic would be ship building and outpost building. I spent quite a long time building my outpost to make it just the way I want it on a really cool planet. So that's really neat. And shipbuilding is also just a neat feature to customize your ship. As far as some more mechanics go, the one thing I don't like is when you open up your character menu or like your inventory, I wish there was a better way of showcasing your spacesuit, your helmet, and your jetpack and your weapon. What would be cool is if you open up your character view and your inventory and you kind of just like highlight over your character's spacesuit, it'll tell you which one it is. And then from there, like it opens up a little drop down box and you can like switch gear. And same goes for your helmet and your boost pack and your weapon. Just kind of highlight over it and then it'll tell you, oh, that's your weapon. Here are the other options you can choose from that are in your inventory. Aside from the slight user interface clunkiness, I'm just being really picky and I want to see things the way I want to see them. So it's not like a huge red flag to me. It is just a little tedious to go through your inventory. Other mechanics such as like weapon modding, spacesuit modding is really great. You just, if you have the resources and you have the proper skill tree, level, you can, mod your gear, you can mod your weapons. It's great. So far, gameplay mechanics are on point and I'm really loving it. Yeah. The main story quest is really interesting, really mysterious, it's very unknown. I don't know what's going to happen next, like without trying to spoil anything. For those of you who have gone through the story or in the process of going through the story, it's always like, ooh, like I wonder where I'm going to find the next piece to this puzzle, if you know what I mean. It's really fun for me. I'm having a great time doing the story missions and the main quests. There is one thing, when I first started Starfield, I wanted to grind out as much of the main story as possible. I wanted to grind through it, not as fast as possible, but I wanted just to only focus on the main story. And what got to me was that was really mentally draining. As far as the narrative, there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of reading, a lot of listening, a lot of talking to, characters, a lot of listening, a lot of reading, a lot of listening, a lot of stuff like that. And what worked for me was doing some main missions and then doing some side quests, or not even doing quests, just taking 20 to 30 minutes and exploring a different planet. I just went on Pluto the other day for the first time. I was trying to get some materials. I think it was titanium. I needed titanium. Randomly selected Pluto because I thought to myself, Pluto's super far, really cold. There has to be some cool materials on Pluto. I went there, boom, titanium. I needed titanium to build something. Anyways, there's a rhythm to Starfield. There's let's do some of the story. All right, let's do some story. And then let's walk over, do some side quests. You know what? I just want to fly in space and shoot some ships down. Or I want to go on Mars because no, Mars is garbage. It's a balance between all of this. Instead of going headfirst into a bunch of dialogue and a bunch of just the quests, the story mode. And I'm not saying that all of this heavy dialogue is a bad thing. I think it's really cool. It's just for me personally, when I play the game, I take breaks from the main quest, so I don't get drained, mentally drained from reading everything. And then ultimately, I found myself getting a little bored. So I just like to switch things up. Another thing that I found really interesting and kind of comical as well was the amount of coffee references there are in Starfield.
I know you didn't just say Terra Brew. Surely my ears must be deceiving me. Because to even imply that I would put that liquid garbage into my body is an insult I cannot tolerate.
I actually work for a local specialty coffee roaster here in my hometown, and it's so funny just finding all of the coffee references in Starfield. And hey, if you actually drink coffee yourself and you brew it at home, whether it be pour over or French press or whatever the case may be, if you use code Jordy10 upon checkout at roastcoffee.com, you'll get 10% off your order. And that is code Jordy10 at roastcoffee.com. We sell whole bean coffee, so if you don't have a grinder at home to grind your coffee beans, when you're selecting the coffee to buy, you can actually have us grind it for your brew style. Also, if you're interested, when you're looking at the coffees that we have to offer on our website, there'll be a description on each one of the origins, and it'll tell you what that coffee is all about. For the most part, I think the graphics look really great. I play Starfield on PC. It's not next-gen hardware, but I have the previous generation hardware in my PC. And I could max out Starfield at max settings on 2K resolution and still push 90 to 130 FPS depending on where I am. When I'm on Atlantis, my frames dip below 90. Sometimes depending on what's happening, I'll hit like 60 FPS. If I'm just cruising around Atlantis, like it's no big deal. Like I don't care if I play on 40 FPS. It's whatever to me. But when I'm on planets, I get pretty decent frames, and it looks great. For some reason, a lot of people were complaining about the graphics. And I know that it's like a subjective topic because not everybody is on a next-gen PC. Some people play on Xbox, some people play on a lower tier PC builds, and I understand, graphics are not going to be the same for everyone. So from my personal experience, graphics look great and I enjoy them. The only thing I don't like are the NPC facial expressions. I feel like they're very emotionless when you're like walking around New Atlantis. It's pretty bad. But I'm just being picky at that point. It doesn't take away from the enjoyment of playing the game. Something that really stands out to me are the graphics involved with just the planets in general. At the end of the day, it's just all really pretty to explore and to look at and to just absorb. So really, really nice. I just want to quickly touch upon this specific topic. I did a whole video about sound and music in Bethesda games, and I'll link that down below, and also just I'll put it somewhere on the screen here. I highly suggest you take a look and watch that video. You might learn something from it. Overall, the complete sound design and soundtrack to Starfield is just absolutely beautiful. Everything from the Foley sound effects, such as the running, walking, footsteps, all the little noises and sounds, to the weapon sounds. reloading sounds, the jetpack boost sounds, everything, the planetary atmosphere sounds, like the ambience noise, and just everything, the airlock sound when you're opening doors on planets, everything. It's really nice, and I pay attention to that the most when it comes to video games, is the audio design, engineering, and the sound design. I'm not too sure how I personally am gonna replay Starfield, or if I even want to start over with a new character build. With these types of games, I'm more of a one and done sort of gamer. So I'll just make one character and just, max him out and really enjoy playing with him. And then when the time comes to when maybe I get bored, or maybe it's time to move on to a different game, I'll just, I'll stop playing and move on. And then when I come back to Starfield, I'll have my same character, and, et cetera, et cetera. But I know that there's some people out there that love building different characters, with different play styles, and, and playing the game from a different perspective. For me, I'm a one character kind of guy, and I'll play the heck out of the game with my one character until it's time for me to move on to the next game. And then I'll come back to Starfield and I'll continue with my character. So that's how I view RPGs. In terms of replayability, it's subjective. And I want you guys to understand that. I don't want to say, yeah, this is, you can replay this over and over again. No, it's not going to be like that. If you love RPGs and it's your main genre of game you play, then yeah, you're probably going to love to replay Starfield. But me, that's not what I do. So, and once you start playing Starfield, you'll get a better understanding of, you know what, I could see myself replaying this a different way. So those are just my thoughts. If you're watching this right now and you're still deciding on whether or not you should buy Starfield, is it worth the $70? I think it's worth the $70 if this is your type of game. And I know you probably hear that a lot, and that might not answer your question, but if you like RPGs and you love exploring and you just love spending time dirtling around, collecting things and organizing things, your inventory, and finding better gear, finding better weapons, and exploring, in this case, in Starfield's case, exploring different planets. If you like the classic RPG mechanics, then yes, it's definitely worth the money, because Starfield's also so dense and packed with so much material. You'll probably find yourself playing this game for days. And mind you, me personally, I'm loving Starfield. Do I feel like it was worth $70 for me? Yeah, I really do. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a great time. And just to be clear, RPGs aren't my go-to game genre to begin with. So if I'm having a great time playing Starfield myself, I think you will too. For everything we just talked about, I'm going to give Starfield a solid score of 8.5 out of 10. All right, if you stuck around to the end, I want to say thank you. I love making these kinds of videos. I love just speaking my mind and watching all the engagement underneath, that is, if I get any. So I really appreciate you guys for sticking around. And if you're new here and you made it to the end, you should consider subscribing. If you want. It's just one click away. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked the video, give it a thumbs down. Until next time, peace out.